Hi, I'm Tetsuya Mizuguchi, founder of Enhance. We are extremely excited to introduce a new game, Tetris Effect Connected, coming on Xbox Series X and Series S. The game features all new multiplayer modes, including Zone, Classic, and Connected, where you can play with friends and compete against friends. We hope you enjoy this new take on Tetris.
I know we young, but we're damn strong. We're shining like no other, like diamonds in the rough. We found out where you've cut this.
So we're going to start off talking about Zone Battle Mode. My name is MacDonald, and I'm a producer here at Enhance. Now, this mode is probably the most familiar to anyone who's played competitive Tetris in the last 10 or so years. Quick note before we start, you're gonna see me here. I'm EGM Mark, playing against my coworker, lead multiplayer designer, Tajima-san, who goes by the moniker Green Tea, who happens to be one of the 10 best Tetris players on the planet. So he's going extremely easy on me here. So it does not represent his skill level. Unfortunately, it does represent my skill level. So Zone Battle, gonna be very similar to what you might have seen in competitive Tetris before. So you clear lines at the bottom. As you do so, that gets sent over to your opponent, and then they're introduced as garbage blocks, broken lines from the bottom of their grid, and helps push them up, and you want to basically push each other up out of the grid and make it game over. You're just going for the win here, basically going for the kill. So what we do with Tetris Effect Connected to put a little spin on that pretty conventional battle mode is our zone system. Now that's something that we're borrowing from single player, where you could build a meter by clearing lines and kind of stop time by hitting either trigger. That stops the blocks from falling, and also lines you clear go to the bottom so that you can kind of make some space in your matrix. So as you're seeing me demonstrate pretty embarrassingly badly here, but you can see the zone in effect. You can both go on defense, you activate the zone. Now your blocks are no longer falling, and also those garbage blocks are not coming up from below, so you have a little break. But also lines that you accrue while you're in the zone there, when they get sent over to your opponent, they come with a little extra kick, like a few extra lines based on a number of factors. But basically, being in the zone, you're always going to be better off with stronger attacks than you would be otherwise. So next is score attack mode, and this is still one-on-one competitive Tetris, but a little different. We kind of think of it as single player versus Tetris, because you're competing only on score. So whoever's gonna end up with a higher score is gonna win. Other than that, it's a pretty standard modern game of Tetris with modern Tetris rules. You can see the score being compared there. If you look at the score on both sides, there's a little red or green number, whether you're behind or ahead from the other player. You can see that adjusting in real time to show who's winning. At the end of the match, if you're ahead and you top out, the other player has 2 minutes to try to catch your score or surpass it. So you might notice the background here is a little more muted than some of the other backgrounds. That's very much by design. You have to really focus in this mode. However, it will evolve. It does move and shift every once in a while. And also, it changes colors. Now that color is based on the player's block colors that are changing every 10 lines as they go up speed levels. Basically, their block colors change to reflect how many lines they've cleared. When they clear lines, the background takes on that color. And if they clear a Tetris line clear, which is worth a lot more points than any other kind of line clear, it goes all rainbow. So if you see it going rainbow a lot and you're not the one clearing Tetrises, you better watch out, because your opponent is doing pretty well. So next we have classic score attack, which takes score attack and changes it, not just the appearance, not just the sound effects, but also the rules back to 30-year-old games of Tetris. The very first Tetris is to come to console that many years ago. The rules are, you might say they're a little harsher, they're a little stricter, they're a little old school. Basically, there's no hold piece where you can swap a piece in and out. You can only see one next piece. There's no hard drop. When a piece touches another piece, that's it. It's locked in, it's over. So it is a little harsher if you're used to modern Tetris, but also I think there's a real purity to it, almost like a I get into a zen-like state playing it because all you can do is worry about the piece that you have right now. And maybe if you're good, start thinking about the next piece, but that's it. Once it's locked, you gotta give it up. You screwed up, too bad, move on. It's not only kind of like a fun bit of nostalgia, as you can see and hopefully hear, but also this is the gold standard for modern competitive Tetris at the quote-unquote pro level. There's a tournament run every year, the Classic Tetris World Championship, that this mode is based on. This is exactly how they run the mode. This is what the best Tetris players in the world, how they determine who is better. And we couldn't be more excited to have this mode in the game. Now you'll see where connected mode gets its name from, as those 3-player matrices, boom, all combine into one 30-block long matrix. Now the players take turns, one at a time, dropping their blocks. This really gets to the heart of the kind of cooperative teamwork that we wanted to foster. You might notice, sometimes one person could screw up. That would really do the opposite of what we wanted, which was to unite people as they screamed at, the one guy or girl who messed it up for all 3 of them. What we came up with to alleviate that is these little purple tetraminos that you might see. We call those magic minos. What those do, as you see, is they will go and they will push down blocks, basically work like an eraser for mistakes. They can't make a gap, they can only fill gaps. So basically those are little make goods, little get out of jail free cards if somebody screws up. That helps you as players collect all those lines, and then once you break out of the zone, zoom, all those lines go over towards the boss. Now, the boss in the meantime has been working on its defense, so the more lines that the boss clears while you're in that zone, the less garbage blocks he's gonna have come up. But if you can overpower him before he can force you out using those blitzes, then that's when you win. You go on to the next boss. Bosses get harder and harder, have different blitzes, different attacks, etc. It's almost like a little co-op campaign Tetris, if you will. So when you knock the boss out, before it's on to the next boss, the game gives you a little simple summary, a few stats, how much each player contributed to the team, nominates an MVP who kind of played best that round. Speaking of deaths, you might see here the yellow player has topped out, but it's not game over until all 3 players are knocked out. The boss has to get all 3 players out at once. What the remaining players can do to try to help revive their fallen teammate, Tetris line clears will go and contribute this little energy towards them. You can see happening to the yellow player now. Filling up that matrix, once it's all the way filled, that player will come back. So it's kind of a little bit of a battle against time and still against the boss. There might be a way for you to kind of help yourself along too. We're not going into detail exactly about how that works. You'll probably figure it out. Ask a friend on the playground if you don't know, or ask the internet, as everybody I'm sure will do starting day 1. We also do have one other mode. It's kind of a bonus mode that we threw in there that we discovered while we were testing connected mode. That's connected versus mode. It only shows up once a week for 24 hours, the same 24 hours all throughout the world, the same 24 hours that the weekend ritual takes place, if you're familiar with single player Tetris Effect. Now, when that mode is active, that paradigm of 3 players fighting an AI boss gets switched, and you can actually play as that boss character. So it's 3 players playing against another player. And that player has a real interesting challenge. It's very asymmetrical how it works. The offense defense mechanisms, all of that is different for the boss. So we're really excited for that to be out there, to experiment, see how players take to it, and just see how people enjoy that mode.
Moments of joy.
So that's Tetris Effect Connected, coming to Xbox Series X and Series S. Also coming to Xbox One and Windows PC via the Microsoft Store, and Game Pass day 1. When I say we're excited for this to get out there and all of you to start playing it, I really, really mean that. It's gonna be a whole different ballgame. We can do all the testing that we can do out here, but once it's out there, like any multiplayer game, it really becomes yours. So we're looking forward to player feedback and gonna be monitoring that closely, and also just excited to see people playing our game. So we really hope you like it. Thank you so much for playing.